Hey everyone, this is Ryan Mitchell from Untitled.com. I want to talk about framing the roof today. But first, before we talk about the roof, I want to get down to the framing the walls. Okay, so I've already gone over a video on framing the walls, but on these walls, we have what's called a single top plate, which is this right here. Basically, it's the top part of the wall framing, and then above that we have boards that are securing our rafter ties there, and then above that on here I have a spacer, a 1/2-inch spacer, because the flooring on the sleeping loft there, which you can see right there, is a 1/2-inch. So to account for the spacing on the parts where there is no floor, we put a spacer here. Then we put our sill plate, which is the beginning of the roof framing. So with our framing, it's a 2x4 framing, okay, and then we have our top main ridge beam, which is actually two 2x6s married together, going the length of the whole house. And then we have these blocking, which you can't see it, but if you were on the outside you would notice that the blocking basically is landing, or is designed so that the sheathing of the roof lands on it, and the blocking just allows us to have something to secure the roof sheathing with, okay? So basically from here to there is 4 feet, and then from there to the ridge is around 2 feet. So we had to take 2 boards and we staggered them so that the seams weren't in line with each other when we were sheathing. Right there you can see the frame out for the skylight, which we'll be putting in later. And then up there you can see the end wall where we framed for our window. Then over here, it's a little hard to see, but this is where we get to our gabled roof, and it gets a little bit complex there, but you can kind of see some of the detail there. Basically it changes angles from that triangle to there, and then it's kind of angled going down. The one thing that's important to note is if you look at my rafters, okay, they go from the top and they land on our sill plate right above our studs in our wall, okay? That's really important. It's probably overkill, to be honest, in this application, but in order to build extra strength, it's important. Basically what we're doing is we're taking the load from up there and we're allowing the load to transfer as it needs to, from the rafters to the sill plate, and then the actual wall studs, and then down to the trailer. Okay, so that's one thing to consider when you're framing out your roof. When you are framing out your roof, you want to be very careful, just because it's kind of high up. It can be easy to fall. People have done it plenty of times before, including some tiny house folks, unfortunately. So you want to be really careful. It's going to take some nice ladders. You're looking at around being 13 to 15 feet up in the air. And then I'll kind of show, just to see how it integrates over here with the loft part. You can see right there, this right there, that's just protective for now, but see your flooring here, which is 1/2 inch, and then our beam, which is the support for it, and then that's resting on the top plate there, and we have a support piece here that distributes that weight from here to here. And ideally we would have liked to put it on a stud, but just the way that the measurements had to work out, it had to go here, so this is why we put this piece. It's a 4x4, which distributes the weight between these two studs. So you can see how we placed them here. These are resting on our top plate, and then they're secured into this piece, which then we put a high shear strength bolt going from the outside sheathing all the way into this beam. So it integrates all of them and ties them all in, makes the structure a bit stronger. All right, and there's a window, so you can see our header there, and then again there's that reinforcement piece for that joist. So that's pretty much it that I can think of off the top of my head. That front part was pretty complicated, the angles. We had a few times where we had to kind of guess to get the right angles. Up here, I'll show you. You can, it's hard to see, but if this piece of wood was not there, you'd be able to see that this piece is actually notched in what's called bird's mouth, so that this beam is transferring its weight onto the sill plate, and then this is blocking, which is basically filling the gap between the sill plate and the roof sheathing, and preventing the rafters from moving around. You can see right there that, you can see right there that there's a little piece of the hurricane tie exposed, and so we have a hurricane tie in each one of these rafters at the bottom, and you can't see it because it goes over the ridge, but there's hurricane ties going over that ridge, integrating all three pieces, and then the sheathing themselves is secured down with screws every 3 inches on the edge of the panels, and then every 6 inches in the field. You can kind of see here, if you look here, you can see that seam, and the only reason why you can see the seam is because this is the framing for skylight, and so that's the only reason why you can see it there. But if you were to follow that sheathing seam line, you see over there it goes into that blocking, and that blocking is there, like we mentioned, to help secure the edges of all the roof paneling. This has been Ryan Mitchell with thetinylife.com. Thanks for watching.